If you can't make it in this market, if you can't grow your business during this market, you will never accomplish it in any other market. And that's hard. That makes you face yourself and look at your actions to see if you really want what you say. Because if you can't make it in this market, you will not make it in any market, I guarantee you. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Araujo. And I got to tell you, I'm excited to be here today. Last week was a great week. With a bunch of our coaching groups, we were able to set short-term targets, and it's something I want to go ahead and touch on today. But for those of you here, of course, at AZ & Associates, we're going to have a special sales meeting tomorrow in order to solidify the game plan for the last 40 days of the year, And it's amazing how fast this year went by, right? If you start thinking about where we started with big ambitions for 2020 and then almost getting sidetracked, almost getting knocked upside the head, right? And realizing that there's something big looming. Now, we could have turned back and kept our poise and kept our game plan, or like many in our industry, they decided to kind of hold back in fear and hesitate and wait to see what was going to come about. And one of the things that I mentioned last week with our coaching groups is that, we always have a choice. And there's always opportunity when most hesitate. There's always going to be great opportunity when others are looking the other way. And I know through my experience that whenever I'm able to do what the masses are refusing to do, it usually puts me in a better position, right? And it's not only about positioning, but it's about the momentum you start building after you make that decision, that hard decision, right? Because everything around you is telling you got to hesitate. Everything around you tells you to stop, be cautious, hold back. But if you're able to continue to move forward regardless, it seems like your whole paradigm changes. Your life, it becomes life altering. And this is one of the moments that I went through this year. I think most of us did. Those that decided to continue to move forward when everything around them told you to stop, everything around you told you to stop, you saw great momentum. We're seeing more individuals this year hit the $20 million mark than ever before. We have, even this past October, our top 20 were all over $1 million in sales, which is absolutely amazing, right? And it's because people decided to continue to move forward when others took their ease. There's that great quote, right, that I always refer to by General Sun Tzu. When he takes his ease, you give him no rest. That means it is a conscious decision to move forward powerfully when others are hesitating. When others are trying to plan, you're taking action. And those are the same things that all of us as great business owners will have to face on a consistent basis. It's not how far you grow when times are good. Like, everyone benefits from that. It's, can you continue to move forward when things are against you, when the economy's bad, right? When there's a pandemic, can you continue to still make moves? When you're able to do that and solidify that in your own mind, you become lethal in the game of life. That means nothing will ever stop you. And don't get me wrong, there is those slight hesitations sometimes, right? But it's slight. I faced that in March. As I saw the numbers of our brokerage kind of slow down. It hit all of us. Don't get me wrong, but it hit others much greater because they stopped altogether. There was a bit of hesitation in the marketplace. So as I'm seeing the numbers go down in March and April, they're not as they are historically, which those are typically some of our strongest months. People got afraid. We're afraid of the pandemic. People were afraid of the unknown. But we continue to push forward. And I realized that if I don't have the mindset that I'm going to go through at a hard pace, that I wasn't not hesitating, I was going to suffer the consequences later on. But because we stayed poised, but because we knew that if we do the right things, the right outcomes will follow suit. And it was a conscious decision to do that. And again, when you make the right decisions during times where others are taking their ease, it seems like the momentum is much greater. We made big moves during that time. You may have made big moves as well and are now realizing the benefits of that. Our numbers here at A's and Associates have never been better. We made big moves with our building. It was a strange time. It was a scary time. I got to tell you that. Getting into one of the biggest financial investments of my life when everyone else is afraid. Yeah, I thought about it. But then I started thinking about my past experiences. Then I started thinking about my commitment. Then I started thinking about how I always figure things out. And when we go with that approach, that one way or another you will come out on top, those decisions don't come as bad. Those decisions are not so big. It's just part of who you are. So when we say, when he takes his ease, give him no rest, we had that opportunity back in March. And some of you pounced on it along with me. Some of you decided to go hard, while others, even within our group, decided to stay home, be afraid. And maybe this wasn't your best year, but guess what? There's another opportunity. There's another opportunity looming. As a matter of fact, we're right in the middle of it, and it is right now. And you got to change your perception of how you're going to approach the last 40 days. It's a mindset thing. And there's an excitement within our coaching groups of those that are going for big numbers during this time. Because as others take their ease, we will give them no rest. That means our actions will be double what they were before. Our marketing will be unapologetic. We will continue to go out there and position ourselves as the best in the industry. But that has to be a conscious decision on your end. There was this quote of this documentary I was watching, and I thought it was brilliant. And I want to share this with you right now. It said, dark times are times of great opportunity for people of great stealth. I want to read that to you again. Dark times are times of great opportunity for people of great stealth. Stealth is only available through those that have experienced hard times, that are able to make moves when others are afraid. When there is so much uncertainty, but there's only one type of certainty, and that is within themselves. Great stealth comes from those that will not quit. And listen, right now, it's a great market, but a lot of people are taking their ease. They're becoming complacent. They had a great 11 months prior, 10 and a half months prior, and they're thinking, hey, well, the industry, especially here in Phoenix, the real estate industry during this time drops down about 30%. So everyone is taking their ease. I can do the same. I'm going to plan a 2-week vacation. I'm going to plan a 1-month vacation. You can't run this year like you did years prior. As a matter of fact, things are a little different this year. Typically during the third quarter here in Phoenix, here in Arizona, third quarter typically slows down from the second. Second quarters are the best. They're the most productive. Not this year. The third quarter, we grew 25% as an industry from the second quarter. So what do you think the opportunities hold for you in the fourth quarter? They will only be available to you if you decide to have a game plan and take the necessary action. While others are taking their ease, if you remain visible, if you remain diligent during this time, you will realize big gains that will not only help you finish strong, but set a precedence for you for 2021. If you think you had a good year this year, you have no idea what 2021 has in store. There's going to be massive market share grab. And it starts right now. It doesn't start in January. It doesn't start in February. It doesn't start after your vacation. It starts right now. And you have to decide that you will make yourself available now more than ever, because there's been a shift in the market. Because if the third quarter was much greater than the second quarter, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the fourth quarter is going to be much greater than the second quarter as well. The statistics are there. The momentum is there. But during this time, the big fish, the players, the top producers take more market share because the average agent decides to hold back. because the average agent decides that the market usually slows down during this time. So I'll take a vacation. You'll start noticing people not answering their phone calls, having these automatic emails that they're out of the office. This is something that should inspire you to continue to move forward powerfully. That means your competition is taking their ease. You must give them no rest. And the way you do this is a simple process we've been practicing for the last 6 years here at A's and Associates. Setting simple targets and then setting a game plan on how you're going to achieve them. We're going to go over some of these questions, but in tomorrow's training, we're going to go and dive deep. Because I want you, for those of you that weren't available to attend last week's coaching calls, I want everyone else to now be as committed and as focused as the people that were. It's amazing. I'm seeing 5 escrows in 1 week. I had another gentleman saying, seeing all my peers continue to accept the challenge of ensuring they get the targets they committed to by December 7th, I walk into the office late in the evening and you think it was 1 p.m. on a weekday. This fires me up. It's time to get my 7 escrows. We have individuals that are committing to 7, 8, 9, 10 escrows in as little as 2.5 weeks because they too see the opportunity. They too know that the competition is taking it easy. They're complacent. In fact, they're mediocre at best. And when dark times loom, people of great stealth will come out on top. You have to decide, are you one of those individuals, or maybe the former, the latter? Maybe you're one of those that is celebrating just a little too early. I'm asking you to have those conversations at home. I'm asking you to recommit and understand that this year is not over. And what you do today, over the next 2 weeks, over the next 40 days, will set a tone that can completely alter and change the trajectory of your business. But it is a decision you have to make right now. Just like I urged you back in March to make the moves, because you have to decide, are you going to be at the tip of the bull's horn or at the tail end? That is a decision we all have to make. I knew early on this year that when this bull market came back ahead, right before us, where the market was going to completely go into a vertical shape straight through the roof, I wanted to be at the bull's horn, at the tip of the bull's horn, not at the tail end. And again, those of you that leaned in, those of you that decided to go all in during that time, not be afraid. Continue to market when the most would chastise you for holding open houses. When the general market was looking at you like, what are you doing showcasing positivity during this time? I remember those conversations. And you kept moving forward. Now those same people are asking you, how did you do it? How are you hitting 15 million in sales, 20 million, 30 million? The same people that were chastising you are now asking you this ridiculous question of how. I'll tell you how. Relentless commitment. And just like March, you have that opportunity right now. Because in March, many took their ease. Many were afraid. Many became complacent and mediocre. This is what's happening right now. So you decide where you want to go. If you want to throw your hands up in the air and say, hey, it was a great year, good for you. Good for you. But don't expect to gain any market share, because there's real players out there that understand that this is a great opportunity for you to take your business to a completely different level. And it's usually when most hesitate, most become complacent, right around this time. I urged the individuals in the coaching groups to have that conversation, that one-on-one with their spouse, with their family, about what their commitments are here for the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. And it's going to be some hard work, some dirty work. We're going to have to grind. But the results on the other side are going to be massive. I'm so glad I had the courage. Like, I appreciate who I was 6 months ago, right? That's how much I've grown over the last 6 months. I appreciate the dude I was 6 months ago because we were able to make these decisions to move forward. And now looking back, a lot of the terms were in our favor. I don't think I could have negotiated what I did had I hesitated. Even though it was scary then, it would have cost me more today. Understand that. Even though you may feel like it's time to take it easy, it's going to cost you more in the future. You must decide what to do as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner. There's opportunity out there. The interest rates have never been lower. We don't know what's going to happen come January. Understand that. Political parties are going to be changing powers, right? What's going to happen then? We don't know. It could be much the same. It could be good. It can also be worse. So for those clients that are hesitating, listing their houses, you have to speak about the facts. The demand is strong right now. We don't know what's going to happen in 2 months. But I love how our group is invigorated right now. They're energized. And when you're invigorated and energized and excited about the future, guess what your clients will be? But if you take their ease, so will they. If there is no sense of urgency on your end, there will be no sense of urgency on their end. You have to give them the facts so they can make the right decisions for their family. People still need to buy. People still need to sell. You have to be at that forefront to meet that demand. I want you to go out there and have people question themselves if they're doing enough. I don't want you to question yourself. I want you to be the person of action that now forces the other person to think about if their actions are enough. As you're doing, others are thinking about it. You want to talk power moves? That is one right there. So I'm going to briefly explain what we did and what we went over here in the last week with our coaching groups. And again, we're going to have a special sales meeting tomorrow because I think this was so effective, much needed during this time. And I'll tell you what, this is what makes me the happiest. No one else is doing this right now. No one else is having this conversation. Everyone else is celebrating. Everyone is just talking about how great the market is, not knowing they can increase their return significantly. They have no idea. They're out there celebrating, patting themselves in the back like they've done this great job. We're planning and we're executing. And that's where we're going to be. Because 2021 is going to be much greater. So the first question is, you got to set a clear target. What is the target? What do you want to create here over the next 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks? That's a simple and clear question. You want to have a stellar 2020? Better yet, you want to have a 2021 that you never imagined? Well, it starts today. You can't afford to take these few weeks lying down. You can't. Don't be the person that asks the question, how did you do it? I want you to know how it feels when people ask you how you did it. And you could simply tell them it was the hard work. It was the intentional work. It was the relentless work. There's a pride that comes out of that. But more importantly, there's a confidence that ensues. You owe yourself that. To end the year strong is so important for all of us, regardless of what we've accomplished. We can celebrate when it's time to rest. Right now, it's battle. It's a battle. It's a battle to continue to grow your business. And that will never end until you decide to stop. So if you're in the game, stay in the game. If you're in the game, stay in the battle. So once you understand what your target is, You have to decide what action items will be required to hit those targets. It's not my decision to make, it's yours. So if you put down that you want to get 3 to 4 escrows, you know exactly what you do to get there. You know exactly how many times you have to be on social media, reaching out to your clients, sending out emails, following up, how many phone calls you need to make, how many houses you need to show, how many offers you need to write. You know exactly what you need to do. And once you write down that list, you ask yourself another very important question. Of the action items I put down, will that get me to what I want to accomplish? If the answer is yes, you move on. You start taking that action. If the answer is no, then you start writing down more action plans. And listen, this is not about holding back. There's great opportunity. Agents are not answering the phone for you, so guess what? They're not answering the phone for their clients. There'll never be a greater opportunity for you to pick up fully qualified buyers ready to pull the trigger like there is today. So you need to take advantage of that and make yourself visible. You want more capital? You need to increase your frequency so people can see and know who you are. From there is what obstacles hinder you from accomplishing these targets. We all know what slows us down. We all know what slows us down during this year. Maybe we're thinking too much about vacation, about family coming down and visiting us. Guess what? It feels so much greater when you have a big fat banking account, knowing that you can do all things. But it starts with a conversation. What are those things that slow you down on a consistent basis? And finally, how are you going to attack those items? When those temptations, when that sense of mediocrity and complacency looms and rears their ugly head, how are you going to overcome? Don't be those that take their ease at this moment. Don't be the person that has nothing to close in January, that has to build their business from scratch again in February. Don't be that person that buys into the fallacies that the market slows down. The trends are showing. There's already over 5,500 sales in November, and we still have, 7, 8 days. And most of the sales usually come the last week of the month. So it's going to be a killer month, a stellar month. 8,000 plus homes will sell in the month of November. Are you kidding me? And if you don't have your slice of the pie out of that, you're doing something wrong. And this is something I've mentioned before. If you can't make it in this market, if you can't grow your business during this market, you will never accomplish it in any other market. And that's hard. That makes you face yourself and look at your actions to see if you really want what you say. Because if you can't make it in this market, you will not make it in any market, I guarantee you. So don't succumb to what the majority is doing. Don't succumb to saying, hey, today I'm just going to go out there and buy gifts. You need to work. We all need to work. And we need to showcase to ourselves and our family that we're made of so much more. And this is it. With only 40 days left, you have to decide what game you're going to play. Because if you decide not to join, the game's going to continue with or without you. And again, what a shame. What a shame to come this far and not finish strong. Those are words that continue to resonate in my head. Because when you finish strong, that means the likelihood of starting strong 2021 are much greater. If you have a weak month, it's hard to build that confidence. You're in a hole while others are screaming ahead. You're trying to dig yourself back out. So that's the game. Feeling invigorated, excited, something to look forward to. But it starts with setting simple targets. So I'm going to invite you, for those of you that weren't able to attend last week's coaching calls, I'm going to do this again because it's been a major turning point for a lot of our players. I'm seeing individuals put 5 deals in escrow in 1 week. That's extreme focus. There's an excitement within them that they understand right now is about doing the hard work, the dirty work. And listen, what I'm asking you to do is not something that's sustainable. I'll be the first to admit. But what I'm trying to really have you focus on is that when others are afraid to get dirty, you have no problem maneuvering through it. So that's the way we got to approach it. So what are you guys hearing in this conversation? But again, tomorrow, 11 o'clock, I will be here, and I hope you are too. We're going to drill down and really dissect why it's so important we finish strong. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you're feeling that excitement, invigorated about how good 2020 was to us and to our industry and how much better it's getting. But to see numbers in the third quarter far surpass whatever we were doing in the second quarter as an industry, that's exciting news. We bounced back. And guess what? Most agents here at A's & Associates, we were at the horn's tip. That's exactly where we wanted to be. Everyone in the industry was going to benefit. But you had to decide, am I going to be at the tip of the horn or at the tail end? As you look at your numbers, you know what you decided to do. But the beautiful thing is we have that opportunity once again. And like this quote says, dark times are times of great opportunity for people of great stealth. Let's make some moves. I'm in. Are you? So thanks again for joining me for another episode of Mindset Mastery. And I hope you got something that'll help motivate you, help inspire you to take that necessary action. Let's make this the best Christmas ever, the best New Year's ever. Let's set the tone and a precedence of what the new standard of life is moving forward. And it starts today. It's a mindset. So if you're spending more time planning your vacation, I need you to take that a little easy there. I need you to hold back a little bit. The year's not done yet. Let's finish strong. And let's make that vacation even greater. So, Patrick, after understanding the targets, writing down how to get there, and not allowing anything to stand in the way, plays back in your mind as we are out in the field over and over again. Challenging times, right? But we have a lot of challenges in front of us, and this is a conditioning process. If you continue to make those moves, think about this. If you're able to double down on your marketing, what do you think that's going to do for your business as others are taking their ease? The first thing is making that move when others are too afraid or too complacent. But I don't think people see the overall picture of it. When you have the courage to do that, when you have the approach and the intention to do that, the results magnify themselves. Or you will pay the consequences later. You will pay more later. And again, the guy I was 7 months ago that was able to make that decision for the new headquarters, if I would have hesitated during that uncertain time, it would have cost me more today. So I'm so thankful I had the courage. I'm so thankful I had the focus and the intention. And these opportunities will always occur, and your job is to take advantage of each and every one of them. So right now, you know the game. Many in our industry have checked out. Don't be that person. Don't be that average agent that does that. Because the real players in the game don't take their foot off the pedal. This is where they make up most of their business. This is where they gain market share. So you have that opportunity. Roger, no complacency. Temptation, mediocrity, and complacency. The 3 evils, the way I see it, right? Amir, setting a clear target and goal, accomplishing it is the best feeling ever. Makes you understand you can achieve so much more and build so much more. Right? That just sets a tone each and every time. It's like you just entered a new level. Every time you're able to set something, then achieve it. We can make this the greatest 2020 ever. And when your great-grandchildren ask you about this time, you can say and look them straight in the eye and say, I killed it. I was unafraid. My business grew tenfold. What an amazing feeling. Roger, if you aim for nothing, that is what you get. So true. And with that, I also set some targets that I'm excited about hitting. And I'm excited about to unveil the new 12-week targets only a few weeks away. And it's going to be the best ever, the most focused and intentional ever. 2020 just set a new tone for us. 2021 will be many levels ahead. Because I'm excited and I'm invigorated. And so I hope that you are too. So guys, thank you for joining me. Felipe, facts, absolutely. So we know what to do. And tomorrow we're going to get very clear about this. So even if you've been through the call already, I encourage you to join again so you can get re-inspired about what's to come. 2020 is not over yet. And we're going to let the market know our position. So thanks again for joining me for another episode of Mindset Mastery. And I'll talk to you soon.